Herman Cornejo burst onto the ballet scene in the late 1990s. As a teenager, he quickly made his mark, rising through the ranks at American Ballet Theatre until his promotion to principal dancer at the age of only 22. Over the years, he has garnered awards and rave reviews. What makes Herman one of the greatest dancers of his generation? Stay tuned for this Balletfocus profile, which reveals the unique and special qualities of his dancing. A short bio before getting to the video. Herman Cornejo was born in Argentina. He was inspired by a live performance by Maximiliano Guerra in Spartacus. After that experience and watching the Bolshoi Ballet's Vladimir Vasiliev on video, he was hooked and began taking ballet classes at Teatro Colon's School of the Arts with his older sister Erica. After showing great promise, he was given a full scholarship at New York City Ballet's School of American Ballet and took classes with such noted teachers as Andrei Kamrevsky and Stanley Williams. After SAB, Herman danced with Julio Boca's Ballet Argentino. After his second season in 1997, Julio encouraged Herman to enter the prestigious Moscow International Ballet Competition. The competition has a great record of identifying young stars, with gold medalists including Mikhail Baryshnikov in 1969 and Julio in 1985. At age 16, Herman was the youngest gold medalist in the history of the competition. At age 17, Herman joined American Ballet Theatre as an apprentice in 1999 with Erica. Herman quickly rose to the top, with promotions to soloist in 2000 and principal dancer in 2003 at the age of 22. Erica was promoted to soloist in 2002 and was a principal dancer at Boston Ballet from 2006 until her retirement in 2017. In his career at ABT, Herman has danced the major classics with distinction, earning rave reviews. He won the Star of the 21st Century International Ballet Competition in 2005, Bessie Award for Outstanding Performer in 2013, and the Prix Benoit de la Danse for Outstanding Male Dancer in 2014. What makes Herman one of the greatest dancers of his generation? The starting point is that he has a great ballet body. From this photo from ABT's La Spectre de la Rose in 2015, you can see he is nicely proportioned, lean with great muscular definition. Another great physical characteristic is his feet. Take a look at his foot, well arched and pointed, facilitating an elegant line when his leg is extended. This is a product of favorable genetics and endless tendu bar work. Herman is short for a principal dancer at 5 feet 6 inches tall, which is the same height as Mikhail Baryshnikov. Here is Herman and Baryshnikov, along with New York City Ballet great Edward Villala at an ABT performance in 2018. Being short was once considered a liability in being cast in major principal roles, but size did not limit the careers of these preeminent dancers. Let's go to the video, starting with a few beat steps. Herman's beats are unparalleled in the dance world. As you will see, he takes full advantage of his great leaping skills and form. The first beat step I show is a cabriole, in which the working leg is thrust into the air with the underneath leg following and beating against the first leg. The first clip shows a double cabriole devant or front from ABT's Swan Lake in 2005. Note Herman's great height and massive split between beats, very unusual for this difficult step. Most dancers achieve some separation between beats, but few dancers can approach Herman's. The second clip is from Frederick Ashton's The Dream from 2004, a signature role for Herman in which he portrays Puck. Herman prepares for the double cabriole with a massive glissade, which covers a lot of ground. Look at Herman relative to Ethan Stifel, who is probably about 6 feet tall. At the peak of his jump, Herman is much higher than Ethan, and notice the massive separation and great form, straight legs, and pointed feet. The next step is a double cabriole derrière, or to the rear, from Diana and Action in 2013. The step is a half turn followed by 2 beats with legs behind the dancer. Herman is high off the ground, hitting a diagonal position with a big split with great form. Another beat step that Herman excels in is entrechassis, which is 6 crossings of the legs. The dancer is in 5th position with right foot in front. He leaps straight up, crossing the legs so that the left leg is in front, then right leg, and finally another crossing and landing in 5th position with the left leg in front. Herman's entrechassis are the best that I have seen, with precise, articulated leg movements, way off the ground. The first example is from the dream. Herman takes off with his left foot in front, with small separation on the first and second set of crossings, with the final crossing resulting in a large separation of his legs, with arms making an X position until he lands softly in plie. The next video is from Les Saffides in 2000. Herman as James performs assemblé 6 and then an entrechassis for 3 sets. An assemblé is an assembling step in which the dancer takes off on one leg and lands on 2 feet in 5th position. Here's a slow motion of the first set. Here Herman completes 6 beats on the assemblé and upon landing goes straight up for his entrechassis. As before, his first crossings are modest, with an impressive final crossing. Note his body position, with straight legs, pointed feet, and rigid upper body as he looks up, then a long way down as he lands softly in plie. One of my favorite steps is a double assemblé, or more formally, a grand assemblé en tournant. The dancer takes off from one foot and does 1.5 to 1 3/4 turns in the air, landing in 5th position. It is a beautiful step when done well. Of course, Herman does the step to perfection with smooth mechanics. The first clip is from ABT's Le Spectre de la Rose. He does double assemblés in both directions. Note his body moves in one piece and shoulders and hips align to a controlled landing in 5th position. In slow motion, you can see that he takes off with his hips facing the back and he hits a diagonal position in the air. Most impressive is his rigid body position as he moves in one piece. Interesting is that he does not spot as his head moves together with his body until he lands to the side in plie after about 1 3/4 turns. The second clip is from the Diana and Action Pas de Deux. This is similar to the first clip, but his arms are in a different position with one arm overhead. Herman is a great turner, capable of doing many rotations. Watching him live, it is difficult to keep track of the number of his turns. The turns shown are on his left leg, with his right foot in retiré, moving outward and clockwise, which is called en dehors turns. The first clip is from the Swan Lake Pas de Trois from 2005, where he does 5 effortless turns. Note the rapid spotting of his head as he repositions his head to the front after each turn. Also his strict form with turned out working leg and arms in a tight first position in front of his chest. His turns are done with his arms fairly close to his body, unlike other dancers that have a much wider arm carriage. From the dream, Herman does 7 amazing turns. From the slow motion, note that he hits a proper retiré position by his second rotation with great turnout. Videos of other dancers show that they don't hit a proper retiré position until turn 3 to 4. His arms are fairly wide on his first and second turns, although I have seen other dancers have a much wider carriage. By turn 3, his arms are fairly close and become closer to his body as his turns progress. Again from the dream, Herman does 8 turns, but with his working leg creeping down his supporting leg as his turns progress, what I call skater's turns. Finally on turns, here are turns à la seconde from La Bayadère in which Herman pulls into 6 turns. His turns in second position are generally not that innovative, but are always solid. After watching clips of Herman in action, let's take a look at a complete solo. Here's Herman in the Act 2 Albrecht solo from the ballet tragedy Giselle from 2006, when he was 25 years of age. Herman is Count Albrecht as he visits Giselle's grave in the forest, and he is sentenced to dance to his death by the Willy Merta. This is one of the finest examples of this solo that I have seen. Here, Herman's great technique and dramatic timing are on full display. All of his steps are done with great efficiency, with no extraneous motions. He makes this arduous solo look easy, the sign of a great dancer. Take a look at the full 1-minute solo, and I will be back with commentary. Herman starts off his solo in his typical high-energy fashion, with a step we've seen before. A gorgeous double cabriole devant with great height and split, with great extension of his right leg upon landing. He follows up the cabriole with a great entre-chassis. Like the previous clips, a small opening of the first two sets of crossings, with his last set having a very wide opening, although he does tone it down a bit. Then he repeats the sequence. Note his turned-out left leg upon landing on his cabriole. This is important, as a turned-in leg risks blowing out his knee of his landing leg. Next are several transition steps, a piqué arabesque followed by a jeté entrelacé, or more informally, a tour jeté. After transitions, the next step is a double assemblé to a lunge, followed by gorgeous turns, 6 with great form, with his tight arm position and turned-out knee in retiré. After 6 marvelous turns, he does not go to a lunge, but stays up on relevé to arabesque, then off to the corner for the next sequence. From the corner, he does a double tour en l'air sequence. 2 items to focus on. First, his fifth positions on takeoff and landing are very tight, with feet crossed and close together. A sloppy fifth position has feet open and not close together. This makes it easier to perform the step, but is not visually appealing. Second, note that Herman does 2 full rotations in the air. His hips and shoulders face the diagonal on takeoff and landing. Some dancers cheat by not completing 2 full rotations. Again, it is easier to complete the step, but is not visually appealing. Note Herman's rigid upper body, which is like a rotating board as he stretches his arms up in 5th position. Also note that he switches his feet in the air as he takes off in 5th position with his right leg in front, landing with his left leg in front. The last sequence is amazing. Dancers generally do a multiple pirouette to either turns a la seconde, which is favored by Baryshnikov, or a double tour to the ground in exhaustion. Herman does 5 beautiful turns, but rather than taking off from 2 feet to a double tour, he takes off from just 1 leg. This is an amazing athletic feat, requiring great stamina, considering the role of Albrecht is a very difficult and taxing role. He is on stage for most of the performance with rigorous dancing. This is at the 90-minute mark of the ballet, and he pulls this off at the end of a tiring solo in front of a live audience. This is stunning. Slowing the step down, we can see that he takes off from 1 leg and is facing the back when he goes airborne. He completes 1 1/4 turns before going to the ground. Given that he is taking off from 1 leg, it is impossible to do 2 full turns, but in real time, it is difficult to detect. His arms do a lot of the work, as his arms give him lift to compensate for a 1-leg takeoff. This is the culmination of an amazing solo demonstrating Herman's stellar technique and range.